copies of my resume for you guys to look at.
Thank you. Are you from Bloom?
Not
Oh, I
necessarily.
just-
That's where I live now,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, that's because I'm a local guy and I know everybody. So how are you today?
I'm doing well, how are you?
Very good. While we're looking over this, I'm gonna ask you one question. Well, actually, I'll let you start with your steadfast start
yeah.
question.
So just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Alright, well, I was born in Gettysburg, so I'm from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I am one of 5 siblings, and I did high school, grew up in Chesapeake City, Maryland, and transferred here my junior year of high school. And then I finished online school, because I only had like 2 credits left, and then I came here for undergraduate and then decided to pursue athletic training, master's here. I live in Bloomsburg now.
So why athletic training?
Why athletic training? I love sports. Ever since I was a kid, I've played sports my whole entire life. And throughout middle school, college, high school, played it all. And I like to help people as well. I wanted something in the medical field since I was in high school. And it was actually my high school health teacher who brought the idea of athletic training. His one good friend was an athletic trainer at University of Delaware. So I looked into it and it sounded like something that I would like. So I looked into it more, and then when I found out that there was a master's program here for it, it's a no-brainer, so.
So I'm looking over, looks like you've done mostly college, except for your very first
Yes.
stint, you were at Central Columbia High School.
Yep.
Okay. Not that it really matters, but did you have a preference over college or high school over college?
I like the college a little more than the high school. Just it's a little more fast-paced, a little more. It's easier for me to communicate with students versus like younger kids. I kind of catch myself with all the kids,
Mhm.
so I just kind of relate more to the college age.
In that, so then you're working like you just related to them better. Have you ever had a situation where you have that athlete that comes out, have an injury, but the coach is like, well, I need this kid in, or season's lost. How would you handle situations?
I would do what, regardless of what the coaches say, the first thing is the student's health. And I wouldn't put them in a situation to hurt themselves further. If the doctor cleared them, I was like, hey, yeah, they're good to go back in, then we'd go from there. But I wouldn't put the student at risk for injuring themselves further.
Is there an experience within your rotations that you've had where you've dealt with an upset coach or an upset parent? And is there something that you dealt with that?
I have been lucky enough to not have dealt with as an upset parent or an upset coach. The worst that I've seen so far is a kid coming in for treatment and not being to their meeting on time and seeing the coach upset then and come in and screaming at them. That's all that I've experienced.
Looking at this, my brain is shutting down. So I'm going to ask this. What aspirations do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? Goals, aspirations, whatever you want to call it.
I want to be successful, and I'm a very driven person, and that's what drives me. I would want to be an athletic trainer. I would, college setting, see myself 5 years from now, assistant, work my way up the ladder slowly, gain experience.
With that, one of my follow-up questions usually is, so it kind of leads into that. You know, you're looking at collegiate setting, you've already seen the chaos of probably working in a collegiate setting. You know, doing this for 23 years, you know, one of the things I'm starting to see is, what do we do for work-life balance? And that seems to be an important question a lot of newcomers into work are looking at. How do you see that? What time management skills would you have to try and complete that?
I am pretty, throughout my college career, I've balanced, you know, school. I've worked on top of school, and then with clinical as well, I've balanced all three. I would just make sure that I set aside time each and every day to do, you know, some self-love stuff, whether it's go to the gym or read or just set that time aside.
So we've sort of talked, you know, as an athletic trainer, our life's dictated by if the game goes into overtime or you have an injury at the end, that now you're dealing with that for the next half hour, 30 minutes, or 40 minutes, however long it takes, because you might need to go to the hospital or something like that. Is that something that would throw your day off? Like, how do you deal with all the changes in life?
I'm not the greatest at dealing with change. I'm a very routine-based person, and I like to have a routine each week. Going into athletic training, I knew that those were things that do potentially happen, and going into like my first clinical rotation, it was a lot. I was thrown into a lot, being there all day, and I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it. I had fun. If that were to happen, if there's a day where I have a little extra time, I get done a little earlier than expected, then do a little more self-help stuff.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
I was just looking over some things. Athletic training can sometimes, especially you've been in rotations within a collegiate setting where you have maybe a head athletic trainer, an associate athletic trainer, an assistant athletic trainer, and then you've seen a high school setting where it's just you're as an intern and one athletic trainer. You know, how do you feel about potentially being an athletic trainer with 300 athletes in a high school setting on your own?
It's a lot different. That's kind of why I like the collegiate level a little more. It's not that I can't handle the responsibility of having 300 students. It's just don't know right now.
It's okay.
That's okay.
I feel like I needed to throw a curve.
Okay. So, what is one thing, or you can say a couple, that sets you ahead of someone else? Like, why should we hire you? What sets you ahead of someone else that we're looking at?
I'm very hardworking. I'm very driven. I understand the time that needs to be put into athletic training and, you know, the routine shifts and things like that. I like working with kids. I like helping them. I like giving them that hope and passion to get better, to get 10 times better than what they were before they were injured. I have fun with it.
And what would you say is one of your weaknesses?
I'm a but anxiety-driven person, so I do find myself getting overwhelmed at times. But throughout my clinical experiences, especially in the collegiate level, when the football players decide to come in 30 minutes before they're supposed to be out there warming up, and they just kind of bombard you, I've had experience like, okay, take a deep breath, bring yourself back to reality, everything's going to be okay. And that's helped me a lot, so it's still something that I'm working on.
We throw a lot of questions at you. I mean, this is usually a closing question, but I think sometimes hearing from you can help us ask some questions. Is there any questions that you may have for us? Seeing, you know, that we're both from Geisinger, we both probably had collegiate experience, high school experience, clinical experience. So is there any questions that you may have, like things that you're wondering about your future?
Not at the present one.
Is it, saying that with Geisinger and you're looking at collegiate, do you have like, what's your dream? Like, what college do you wish to, you know?
I like Division II
Okay.
a lot. It's fast-paced enough that I like. But I just wanna honestly just be happy with where I'm at. Happy, you know, going to work every day. I don't wanna have to dread waking up and going to work. I want it to be fun. That's it. I just wanna be happy with where I'm at.
Alright, I'm gonna ask this question, so if you had to go into your athletic training bag, pick one item that describes you, what would it be and why?
Are we talking like all that, like
Whatever
split
is-
bag, the crutch bag, like
Whatever
all
you
those?
bring with you.
Well, I'm just saying you're like your athlete, you got that big
Your big
black kit, or blue, whatever color you like, whatever color your kit is. What would you like it to, what, if you had to grab in there and say, this best represents me? I worry about the person, I'm a shark, so I'll cut.
I joked last time, like, yeah, shark.
Cut you.
I would be. My initial is crutches, but can't necessarily grab those out of your back.
Well, since
Okay.
that was your
So
first
why?
thought, why crutch?
Crutches, because I'm a very supportive person, and I like to support the team that I'm working with, whether coaches, athletic training staff, and crutches are there if you need them a lot, or if you just need a little help walking. So what was that?
And, well, seeing that you worked here at Bloomsburg, were you with just one sport? I see you have football, women's lacrosse, women's basketball. Did you do mainly one, or were you just kind of all?
My second rotation was mainly lacrosse and basketball, so I would go to all the games for them. I didn't travel with them, but all their home games I was there with George.
Okay.
And then this season I'm primarily football, so I've traveled with them and all that. So I would be sport football for sure. Basketball second, lacrosse. Just,
It's not fair.
Alrighty. Well, all right, thank you so very much.
thank you.
Nice to
Thank you.
meet you.
It's nice meeting you. Nice to meet you.